This is Hidden Killers Week in Review.
A look back at the most prolific stories of the week.
This is Murder in the Morning with Tony Brueski and Stacey Cole.
Well, after 2 years of pretending he just didn't know any better, former Palmetto State Bank CEO Russell Laffitte has finally admitted what everyone else already knew. He's a crook. You know, this is the guy that was buddies with Alec Murdaugh. That Alec Murdaugh. In a guilty plea deal made public this week, Laffitte confessed to 6 criminal counts, copping to a scheme with Alec Murdaugh that laundered and stole at least $3.5 million from vulnerable clients over an 11-year stretch. That's more than a decade of playing dumb while using his bank like a personal vending machine for fraud. But unlike previous courtroom performances, Laffitte now admits he wasn't just naive or misled. He knew exactly what he was doing, and it was illegal. It's a major shift from the story Laffitte has been trying to sell since the walls started closing in back in 2022. In that trial, the man spent 5 hours on the stand defending everything but bad judgment. He painted himself as the village idiot of banking, manipulated by Murdaugh into funneling millions out of client settlements without understanding what was going on. He even pulled the classic "not intentionally" line when asked if he'd helped Murdaugh steal. But now, in black and white, Laffitte is admitting he did help. Intentionally. Repeatedly. And he knew it was against the law. This admission changes everything, especially for the people he hurt. It also spares them from enduring a second trial that would have just rehashed painful memories and exposed them to more cross-examination from Laffitte's legal team. Instead of dragging them through that again, Laffitte gets 5 years. It's a cut from the 7-year sentence he was serving before his conviction was overturned on a technicality. And it's a far cry from the 9 to 11 years prosecutors were originally gunning for in their 2023 sentencing memo. That memo was brutal. Prosecutors said what made Laffitte stand out wasn't just the crimes. Plenty of people commit bank fraud. It was the audacity to lie about it over and over. They detailed how Laffitte had spun tales in a civil deposition, during a disciplinary review, at his bond hearing, and at trial. And even after the jury found him guilty, he still tried to appeal, blaming everyone but himself. But now, thanks to this plea deal, there'll be no retrial, no appeals, no last-ditch arguments about ineffective legal counsel. Laffitte has waived all of it. It's a legal dead end for him, man. A sigh of relief for prosecutors and victims alike. Let's talk about the company he kept. Laffitte wasn't pulling these moves with some faceless fraudster. He was in business with Alec Murdaugh, arguably South Carolina's most radioactive defendant. By the time Laffitte's case came up for retrial, Murdaugh was already a convicted murderer and a convicted thief. The idea of facing a jury while being tied at the hip to that guy, not really a very good look. The background of all this are the stories of the people they stole from, the Filer sisters, Hannah and Elena. They had their settlement money drained. Natasha Thomas lost $350,000. Arthur Badger left to raise 6 children after his wife's death in a crash, had over $1 million siphoned from his rightful settlement. Laffitte helped reroute that money through his bank into accounts he and Murdaugh controlled, like some twisted game of Monopoly where the victims always lost and the banker pocketed Boardwalk. Emails between Laffitte and Murdaugh discussing Badger's money were described by attorney Mark Tinsley as especially damning, which is why Tinsley says this guilty plea isn't a surprise, it's damage control. And for the victims and their attorneys, this deal is about more than just prison time. It's closure, it's avoiding another public trial, and most importantly, it's proof in writing that Laffitte wasn't just a clueless banker caught in the crossfire. He was an active, informed participant in a massive fraud. Even as he faces civil lawsuits where he continues to deny responsibility, his federal guilty plea will hang around his neck like a cement necktie. Because no matter how many depositors or depositions that he gives, The ink on that 10-page agreement does not lie. Russell Laffitte may have spent years denying, deflecting, and dodging the truth, but this week he finally ran out of exits. So that's not going to be good for his civil cases.
What do these people do? How do they get any of this money back? They don't, do they?
No.
And this is how some of them were going to survive. What do you do when that money is gone?
Well,
and it's some prick like this that did it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, with something like this, I mean, they would, seize his assets. They probably already have. And then whatever they could get out of that, then they would disperse to victims, usually. I don't know exactly how that's all gone down here. But I don't know what he's worth. I don't know, at some point, you run out. So
do you sue the bank? Can you sue the bank? Go after them because he represented them?
I think the bank has been sued.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean,
it's been a while since I've paid attention to this
I
case.
could be wrong on that, but I do believe that has taken place. Because, I mean, you could. He was a representative of the bank. And, I mean, it's under their purview, if you will. So. Well,
you would hope that there would be some sort of checks and balances that, where's this money coming from? Mm-hmm. I mean, although maybe
he's the guy that would sign off on everything, though. He's the one that's how he got away with it. I mean, if it was a teller doing it or something, he'd be like, "Wow, is this going on?" But he knew what he was doing, and he knew where it was going, and he knew what he needed to make it look like. So an audit wouldn't catch it.
He's the auditor.
Yeah.
How convenient.
I wonder. I mean, just how ingrained in his lies that he was for so long. Of Alec Murdaugh that gets so ingrained in his lies as well. It just seems like that is such a way of life for a lot of people in power there. I mean, it's probably a way of life for a lot of people in power anywhere, quite honestly. But the level of it for people that, you don't think of as criminals. I mean, these were, fathers, these were husbands, they really portrayed themselves as, just a down-home banker. I'm just a friendly neighborhood bank. Come on in. Kids get a box
probably
of raisins.
Sponsored a softball team too, right?
Yeah, I don't know, probably. I have no idea.
I wouldn't doubt it.
I wonder if they gave out... the little dum-dum suckers to the kids, or if they did raisins. Did you ever get the raisins at a bank?
No, just the dum-dums.
Yeah, my parents went to a credit union, and they gave out little boxes of Sun-made raisins.
And there's nothing wrong with raisins, but the problem would be...
You want a dum-dum.
Well, you want a dum-dum because raisins seem healthy and kids don't want healthy. But number two... Unless they were fresh, those things could crack a tooth. They'd get so hard.
Yeah, I mean, I think they went through a lot of them, so I think they were pretty fresh, if I remember the raisins.
Do banks still do that? I know they give out dog bones.
I don't know the last time I went through a bank drive-through.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Last time I did, though, my bank is all digital. Like, even where there are windows, it's digital now. And I don't know that there's... Because sometimes there's not even... You're not even talking to the people behind there. You're talking to, like, somebody in an office. And then they relay to the bank or whatever, like, okay, take this to... Or some of it's just completely automated, too. You're just putting your money in or pulling it out. Yeah.
My bank's in another state, and then I've got one in Minnesota, so I haven't been there in probably 10 years. And then I've got another one that I don't even know if it exists. The money just goes through and the card works. I think it exists.
Yeah, and then you're going to find out you're like committing some sort of horrible fraud.
It's money laundering.
I didn't know. Just like Russell Laffitte, I had no idea I was helping do all of this. I wasn't even sure if the bank existed. Yeah. Well,
how do you know if a bank exists, especially now? I mean, to my knowledge, I go through Charles Schwab. Is there a physical bank somewhere? I've done everything online. I sign up online. I have an app.
I can't say it's one that I've seen around here, but I wonder, I would imagine there's some in some places, just not as,
I don't know.
or maybe some parts of the country, they're more, prevalent. I don't know.
It's weird though. It's weird to send your money to an entity you've never seen, Yeah,
it is for us. But there's a lot of online banks that do not have any sort of physical location, and they have like some pretty good interest rates and stuff that are usually better than anything you can get in a physical setup. But again, it is kind of weird. We're
used to going through the drive-through. We're used to walking in and seeing a teller
and getting the dum-dums.
The dum-dums.
Or on a bad day, raisins.
Craving non-stop true crime updates? Press subscribe now and get the latest cases, analysis, and expert commentary delivered straight to your feed. Only from the Hidden Killers podcast and True Crime Today.